The haunted orphan with sinister supernatural powers. 3 terrifying secrets revealed. Claire's fingers trembled as she placed the last toy on the shelf, a worn-out teddy bear with one eye missing. Suddenly, a chill swept through her cozy living room, sending a shiver racing down her spine. She shook her head, trying to dismiss it. After all, she had enough to worry about. The 3-month whirlwind since welcoming the orphan Lucy into her home had already taken its toll. The flickering lights began as a minor annoyance, but now they created a constant buzz of anxiety in her mind. It started innocently. In the morning, the toys were in chaos, scattered across the floor, and in the evening, they found themselves neatly arranged, almost like a mini army waiting for orders. Shadows danced in the corners. A low whisper tickled Claire's ears, the words just out of reach, leaving her feeling nauseous. She brushed it off as stress, believing the strain of motherhood had conjured hallucinations. But then there was Lucy. Sweet, fragile Lucy, with those big, haunting eyes that seemed to hold another world within. Her words, however, were becoming strange. What was a little girl doing speaking of darkness, warning Claire that it lurked around every corner? "It's hungry, Claire. It wants to play," she would say with a smile that sent chills racing in Claire's blood. Claire felt the tension in her throat as she avoided making eye contact. A nagging dread crept over her, the neighbors whispered behind their hands, their glances growing more pointed. Rumors floated around Maplewood, of children who had disappeared without a trace, and the old psychiatric hospital looming at the edge of town felt like a dark cloud pressing down, suffocating her new normal. Just last week, she overheard a neighbor murmur, "Remember the girl who vanished? They found her dolls in the woods." The words rang in her ears like a verdict. Isolation began to close in, and the feeling that Lucy wasn't merely a troubled child grew stronger. As the sky darkened, the shadows leapt forth with phantom vigor. Claire awoke in the night, heart pounding. She could have sworn the walls whispered secrets not just about Lucy, but about her. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. That S when she stumbled upon Lucy's journal, the one with cryptic drawings and sinister symbols. Her heart hammered as she flipped through the pages, pausing at the chilling words, "If you deny our memory, the darkness will come." Pictures of shadows haunting children took her breath away. What was this child hiding? A thunderous crash disrupted her thoughts, sending her racing into the hall where Lucy stood, frozen, a coy smile masking her face. The light flickered ominously. Claire felt the walls closing in, whispers taunting like a cruel game. "You can't run from what you can't see," Lucy sang, and it took everything in Claire not to scream. As the shadows stretched and yawned at the edges of her vision, Claire knew something terrible was unraveling. They were not alone. The darkness was watching. And as the night deepened, fear coiling tightly around her heart, Claire sensed that a reckoning was drawing near, one that would force her to confront what she truly knew about Lucy, and the terrifying history of Maplewood. Claire's breath quickened as she stared at Lucy, her innocent gaze cracked by an unsettling glimmer in her eyes. The walls felt wrong, too close, closing in like a fist around her. The air hung thick with an impending doom, almost palpable, as if the house itself was waiting. "Lucy," Claire finally managed, her voice shaky. "What do you mean by the darkness?" The little girl tilted her head, her smile never wavering, but her eyes turned stormy. "It calls to me, Claire. It wants to play with you too." The thirst for understanding clawed at Claire, but dread wrapped around her thoughts. She fought it back. "That's enough," she said firmly, though it came out more as a plea. "Let us just have our tea. We can talk later." As she ushered Lucy back into the warmth of the kitchen, Claire tried to act nonchalant. But inside, panic gripped her. She poured the steaming liquid, hands shaking, splashing some on the counter. The kettle whistled piercingly, but the sound faded against the whispers creeping from the corners of the room. "Missed a spot," Lucy said, her voice a sing-song that twisted like a knife. She waved her hand, and the steam from Claire's cup twisted into grotesque shapes that flickered and faded in quick succession, showcasing distorted faces that laughed without sound. Claire jumped back, dropping the teacup to the floor where it shattered, shards flying like ice in a fierce winter. "Stop it!" she shouted, fear surging. "You can't," but Lucy's laughter filled the space, an otherworldly sound that reverberated off the walls. The lights flickered again, causing the shadows to leap and sway, mocking her. Claire looked around, eyes wide, desperate for escape, but there was nowhere to go. The kitchen felt like a trap, the shadows creeping closer, whispering secrets she couldn't understand, yet knew she needed to. Summoning courage, she forced herself to approach the child once more. "Lucy, we need to talk about those drawings. The darkness, it can't be real." "Oh, Claire," Lucy said, her voice dropping to an eerie whisper. "It's very real. And it knows you." Just then, the ground vibrated, and the temperature in the room dropped. The shrieks of forgotten children, echoing from Lucy's journal, filled her ears. A horrible realization set in. Lucy wasn't just disturbed. She was the catalyst for something much darker, connected to the vanished children, to the whispers Claire heard at night. "Who are you?" Claire demanded, but her voice was barely audible over the wails of misery surrounding her. Lucy's smile widened, revealing a glimpse into madness. "I'm the one who brings them back." Suddenly, the door to the kitchen slammed shut, and the windows rattled violently as if the house was crying out in despair. The walls shook, defending against an unseen force pushing through, pounding against them like a battering ram. The lights blinked violently before plunging the room into darkness. Heart racing, Claire reached for where she remembered Lucy standing but found nothing. The girl had vanished, swallowed by the void that now surrounded her. A single breath echoed in the silence. Then came the laughter, pure and sinister, followed by a soft, whispering chant, "Come play with us, Claire. Come and bring your fears." With a storm of panic surging in her veins, Claire felt the shadows move, starting to swirl around her like a living entity. That's when she understood. It wanted her and it wouldn't stop until it got her. But what if getting her meant losing Lucy forever? In that terrifying moment, she knew one truth: she couldn't let the darkness win, even if it meant journeying deeper into the twisted memories that lay buried in Maplewood. As a low rumble filled the air, Claire huddled in the corner of the kitchen, heart pounding louder than the chaos outside. She heard a familiar voice, muffled and sinister, beckoning her to come closer. Who was really behind the darkness? The whispers were becoming more insistent. It was time for Claire to find out, before it was too late. The darkness felt alive, a pulsing mass wrapped around her. Claire pressed her back against the cool kitchen wall, trying to steady her breath. The laughter echoed around her, twisting memories of her own childhood into grotesque mockeries. A shadow drifted past, barely seen but so palpable, it sent a chill racing up her spine. "Come play," the voices called, their tones sweet yet sharp, like honey layered over razor blades. "Get away from me," Claire shouted into the void. For a brief moment, the laughter paused, replaced by a heavy silence, but it didn't last. One breath in and they were back, taunting, whispering filthy secrets that brushed against her sanity. With every heartbeat, the shadows pressed closer, and the kitchen began to morph, the walls bending as if they were alive. She couldn't keep cowering. Claire couldn't allow fear to consume her. She clenched her fists, forcing every ounce of her resolve into action. "I want to play your game," she cried out into the darkness. The shadows recoiled, and she felt a momentary shift, as if the evil lurking within this house briefly hesitated. But it came rushing back, more furious. The floor beneath her feet trembled, vibrating with the weight of relentless despair. Claire turned her eyes to the hallway that led to the rest of the house. There was no way but forward. She needed to find Lucy, needed to confront whatever this darkness was, and if she was going to do it, she had to move. With each step, the whispers ignited in fury. She could feel cold fingers brushing against the nape of her neck, hear echoes of the children's laughter wrapping around her like chains. Gripping the doorframe, she leaned forward. "Lucy!" she screamed, her voice cracking. The corridor before her stretched endlessly, illuminated only by the flickering light from her kitchen. The walls dripped with shadows that writhed and twisted, coiling like snakes. The deeper she ventured, the heavier the air became. It pressed against her chest, choking her resolve. Then she spotted a door shrouded in darkness at the end of the hall. Her heart raced as she approached, called by some dreadful instinct. A cold sweep of terror ripped through her, yet she couldn't stop. It creaked open without her touch, revealing a room thick with a smothering darkness that seemed to absorb the light around it. Her insides twisted. She knew someone or something waited on the other side. "Lucy!" Claire's voice echoed hollowly back to her, fading as though swallowed by the gloom. As she crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind her, plunging her deeper into shadows. An oppressive silence settled, but then she heard it, a heartbeat, distant and rhythmic, a sinister metronome driving her fear. It pulsed in time with a whispering chant, each syllable laced with sophisticated malice, dancing around her. "Join us," they said. "Claire, join us," her mind raced. Was Lucy in on this? Did she lure Claire here? The figure hardened in her mind, but everything remained obscured by the cloying darkness. Just as panic threatened to swallow her whole, a flash of pale emerged, a fleeting glimpse of Lucy, standing motionless, her eyes dark and vacant. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely above a breath, a plea drowned in the shadows. That whisper burned into Claire's soul. But just as she took a step forward, another voice broke through the haze, a child's, sweet yet sharp. "She's not who you think, Claire." The chilling realization washed over her. Who was it that Claire was truly looking for? Was Lucy trapped within this darkness, or was she the heart of it? With that question lingering like a bitter taste, Claire felt the shadows lurch forward, wrapping around her limbs, pulling her deeper into the abyss. And she knew she had to act fast before they consumed her entirely. But could she sever the connection, or was she too late? One choice lay in front of her: fight for Lucy, or escape this haunted existence. "What will you choose, Claire?" echoed the chorus, sinister and sweet, promising her both freedom and doom. The shadows surged forward, encasing Claire like a shroud. Panic tightened around her throat. She fought against it, heart pounding like a desperate drum in her chest. In the dark, that sinister heartbeat pulsed louder, matching her fear. "Lucy!" she screamed again, a scream filled with desperation. The weights of countless memories started surfacing, intertwining with the darkness, the laughter, the chaos of childhood games, but mixed with sorrow and despair. Claire swallowed hard, trying to focus. She had to dig deeper. "I'm not afraid of you." The taunting laughter erupted again, filling the room with a symphony of malice. "Not afraid?" they mocked. "You will be." The shadows spiraled, morphing into shapes, twisting like the trees in a storm. An image flickered in front of her, Lucy's face, gaunt and pale, swirling within the darkness. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Claire fought back, the tears welling in her eyes. "Lucy! I'm here. I join us." The whispers melded with the sobs of a crowd that didn't exist, a choir of despair rising in volume, drowning out Claire's thoughts. She stumbled, feeling a surge of energy, an instinct that pulsed in sync with the malevolence surrounding her. It was familiar, dangerous. Claire wasn't just a victim here. The shadows recognized something in her. Clenching her fists tighter, she felt a warmth rising within her, and for a moment, the darkness quieted. Shimmering lights danced in her palms. "I am not yours," she shouted, forcing her will against the consuming night. "I will save Lucy." The shadows screamed, a high-pitched wail filled with rage. The lights in her hands flickered as they resisted, and suddenly, Claire saw a glimpse of the room beyond, intertwined with the darkness, the flickering remnants of Lucy's laughter, a childhood pain turned exquisite agony. "Don't let it take you," Lucy's voice echoed faintly from within the darkness, her figure flickering like a dying flame, struggling against something far more potent than Claire understood. No! Claire yelled, the warmth in her hands pulsing stronger. She took a step forward. Lucy! Hold on. But the shadows encircled Lucy like vipers, squeezing tighter. The air grew colder, stifling. A truth hit Claire with merciless force. She couldn't save Lucy if her own power was intertwined with this darkness. Where did it even come from? Choose. The voices roared again, echoing through her mind, morphing their pleas into threats. Before it's too late. The oppressive weight of the shadows pressed down harder, threatening to crush her will. In that moment of raw fear, she felt something solid ignite within her, a connection to the shadows themselves. What if fighting it meant giving into it? Join me! The sinister chant came from all directions, wrapping around her, inviting her with dark promise. The shadows pulsed with her uncertainty. Embrace your true self. What if Lucy was the key to unraveling this nightmare? Or was she the piece that finished it? Claire felt her heart race with a realization that flooded her with dread. Everything you need is here. A child's voice chimed sweetly, hauntingly. He is here with you. What do you mean? Who? Claire gasped, feeling the shadows tighten around her again. She scanned the dark, searching for Lucy, for answers. Let him find you, Claire. Let him. And the laughter rose, a maniacal crescendo as the shadows began to swirl in every direction, blocking her escape. Claire's breath quickened. She was teetering on a precipice, caught between two worlds, the light and the suffocating dark. Was she destined to join them, or could she save Lucy without losing herself? The choice loomed above her like an executioner's axe. And then, on the outskirts of her vision, a familiar shape flickered, a tall, dark figure emerging from the smoke, a grotesque parody against unimaginable horror. Who are you? Claire breathed, almost inaudibly, as her heart plummeted into a chasm of despair. The figure smiled, sharp teeth glinting in the shadows, and answered with a voice that sent ice down her spine, I'm your worst nightmare. And it's time to play. Claire's resolve began to fray, and she braced herself for what was to come. What if playing meant losing? What if the game could claim them both? The whispers twisted around her. What will you do, Claire? The choice is yours. As the figure advanced, a chilling echo faded into the surrounding darkness, leaving Claire with one desperate question: could she escape this nightmare before it became her reality? The figure loomed closer, its presence suffocating. Claire's pulse thundered, a relentless beat that screamed to flee. But there was nowhere to go. The shadows pressed in on all sides, each uncertain breath pulling her deeper into the gloom. Playtime is the best time, the figure taunted, its voice oozing with malice. Claire's heart raced. Every instinct urged her to fight, yet part of her felt tethered to this dark spectator. A sickening pull, a twisted sort of comfort, threaded through her veins. Let us play a game, it suggested, the grin widening, revealing rows of jagged teeth. But first, we need to know how you really feel about that little sister of yours. Claire clenched her jaw, fire lighting her determination. You're lying. You don't understand. Oh, but I do, the figure replied, voice as smooth as ice. Every memory, every piece of regret. I'm all those voices you hear, all those shadows in your mind. Each word scrubbed against her skin, leaving a cold sweat. The warmth in her hands flickered, shadows licking at the edges of her consciousness. Would she betray Lucy by engaging with this darkness? Was the darkness feeding off her fear, her dreams, her very essence? No. She shouted, a small flicker of defiance sparking within her. You want to have me? The laughter echoed, mocking. But you're already here, aren't you? You've always been drawn to me. You're not just here to save Lucy, you're here because the darkness has always been part of you. Claire hesitated. The familiar pang of sorrow twisted in her gut. Was there truth in that? Did she harbor the very shadows that haunted her? She glanced around, searching for Lucy, but the darkness suffocated her vision. Until you accept yourself, you can't save her. All your past hurts, your fears, they define you. Why fight it? The figure prodded, its elongated fingers reaching toward her like shadows seeking out light. Together, we can embrace who you are meant to be. Terror clawed at her. She felt the tendrils of shadow wrap around her ankles. No. I want to let you take me. Claire shouted, her voice trembling but powerful. Then you will lose her, it hissed. Images flooded her mind, Lucy's laughter against bright summer days, their shared secrets, the warmth of sisterly love, years ago but frozen like an ache. Think of the pain you felt, the figure continued, dripping with honeyed poison. In letting go, you could find peace, or just join me. Claire bit back a sob. Get away from me. The shadows writhed, tugging at her, urging her to surrender. And yet, she felt that flicker of warmth in her hands fight back, the light growing brighter. Lucy loves you. You can't let the darkness win. Claire shouted, the edges of her voice splintering into tears. Against the cacophony of horror, she concentrated. Was it truly possible to break the cycle? Could she transform the despair? Enough. The figure roared, its laughter turning to fury, and with that, shadows surged forward in a violent wave, crashing against her. Claire planted her feet, digging into the ground beneath. The warmth in her palms blazed to life, illuminating the dark abyss briefly. For just a second, the shadows shrank back, shying away from the potent light. Lucy! Claire cried one last time, the hope in her voice breaking through the storm. The shadows hissed, recoiling as she reached for the fading flicker of her sister amidst the looming darkness. Claire wouldn't let this nightmare choke them both. But the figure didn't retreat. Instead, it grew larger, the grin morphing into a dark threat. You think you can fight me? This is just the beginning. The real game hasn't even started yet. Then the world shifted. The shrieks and whispers morphed into a wrenching silence, as if every sound had been swallowed whole. And in that unnatural quiet, somewhere deep in the shadows, she heard the faintest echo of Lucy's voice, desperately calling out to her. Claire, please. Heart racing, Claire stood on the brink of the abyss, caught in the balance of light and dark. What lay ahead? Would she embrace the darkness, or was there still light to be found? Game on, the figure sneered, stretching out its arms dramatically before it, the very fabric of shadows pulsing like a heartbeat, beckoning her to choose. Could she confront this twisted challenge and emerge with Lucy? Or would she find herself lost in the dark forever? The stakes were rising, the real horror was yet to come. Claire felt her heart plummet as silence thickened around her, pressing against her chest like a suffocating weight. The shadows shimmered with a malevolent energy, swirling restlessly as they watched her every move. She took a trembling step forward, wading deeper into the murky darkness, her pulse thrumming like a war drum. Lucy, she shouted again, desperation coating her words. The name echoed, swallowed by the void, leaving an unsettling stillness. The figure before her flickered in the dimness, its towering form pulsating like a grotesque shadow seeking sustenance. To save her. It whispered, the voice dripping like rancid honey, you'll have to play the game according to my rules. Claire's resolve hardened. What kind of rules? She demanded. A sharp laugh erupted, reverberating through the air. The rules of fear, Claire. Show me what you value most, and I might just let your sister go for now. Dread clawed at her mind, visions of her childhood flashing before her. Lucy's bright eyes, always filled with wonder. Was it possible that her own darkness could somehow betray that love? The figure's grin widened, knowing the turmoil raging inside her. I don't have anything for you. Claire shouted, defiance lacing her voice. Aren't you tired of pretending, Claire? It replied, voice softening into a coaxing tone that slithered into her psyche. You've buried your fear. You hide from it, but it's still there, festering, waiting. Let us take a step back, to that moment. Suddenly, the shadows morphing into haunting images, revealing a child, her younger self clutching Lucy's hand. They were at the cradle of an old, creaking house, laughter bubbling like an effervescent fizz. Claire's heart surged, but then came the sharp, twisted edges of memories, the ominous creaking, the darkness that had slithered into that fragile haven, stealing away her sister's laughter. No. Claire gasped, stepping back as if the weight of the memory was too much to bear. I won't let you. Ah, but you already have. You carry that fear with you. It never left. You watch as your own light dims, those jagged teeth emerge defiantly in the shadows surrounding her. No. She squeezed her eyes shut, searching desperately for that flicker of warmth still lingering in her palms. Lucy needs me to fight. Then fight, the figure sneered, but face the truth first. Imagine what if you're unworthy of saving her. A chill coursed through Claire, stealing her breath and drenching her in sweat. What if the figure was right? What if her fears had been a barrier to her sister's safety? Reveal your truth, Claire, it urged, launching toward her, shadows wrapping around her wrists like chains. Show me the real you. With a fierce determination, Claire opened her eyes, the flicker of warmth pulsating so powerful it almost burned. No. I won't give in. She thrust her hands outward, the light erupting as if a dam had broken. The shadows shrieked, recoiling, but the figure just laughed, embracing the glow like a sick joke. Your light is weak, Claire. It won't last. It taunted, the shadows roiling in a frenzy. But Claire could see her sister's face behind the veil of darkness, could almost reach out to her, if only she could ward off the agony clawing at her heart. Lucy. I will save you. With a burst of courage, Claire charged forward, driven by hope, guided by the warm glow that remained in her palms even against the encroaching shadows, even against the raucous laughter echoing around her. She didn't know how much longer she could hold out. The darkness was weighty and relentless. But one thought burned in her mind: she could not let this darkness consume her, or her sister. As she pushed ahead, shadows whipped at her, viciously snagging at her clothes. The figure cursed, furious that its grasp was slipping, but it was not finished yet. Do you think you can outrun your past? This is just the beginning, it seethed, the light flickering ominously as the abyss yawned wider at her feet. Panic shot through her veins as she stumbled backward. Uncertain. What awaited her in the depths of the darkness? Could she truly break free, or was this nightmare only stretching its claws deeper? Time's nearly up, Claire, the figure hissed, eyes blazing with malevolence. Will you accept or resist? The ground beneath her shook as shadows rose like a tidal wave, ready to engulf her whole. Claire stood on the precipice, trembling with every fiber of her being. What choice would she make as the storm boiled in the dark? Would the game end her journey, or lead her to salvation? The chaos in the darkness crashed around her. Claire could feel the shadows tightening their grip, snaking around her ankles as she wrestled against their cold tendrils. Each pulse of her heart resonated like thunder in her ears, drowning out her thoughts. She fought against the urge to look back, to see just how close the abyss had come to swallowing her whole. Claire, came that sickly sweet voice again, echoing off the walls of her mind. Do you really want to know the truth? What you fear the most? Wouldn't it be easier to just give in? No. She screamed, clenching her fists. A surge of warmth flickered inside her like the dying ember of a fire, but it was enough to keep her rooted. She raked her fingers through the darkness, pushing against the suffocating veil that sought to envelop her. Thoughts of Lucy filled her, burning brighter with each moment. I'm not afraid, she said, but internally she could feel the tremor of doubt. Hadn't fear kept her from saving Lucy before? Still, her love burned hotter, more fierce than the choking despair that surrounded her. The shadows coiled tighter, pressing against her skin, whispering vile secrets of abandonment and loss. Images swirled in her mind, a distant scream, the chill of her sister's empty room, the day Lucy vanished without a trace. Each memory stung like a needle. Face your fears, Claire. The figure screeched, its eyes blazing with cruel delight. Tell me whose fault it really is. No. It was you. Claire shouted, her voice strained but defiant. You're the one keeping her from me. With every word, the shadows writhing around her began to wane, but the figure did not relent. Is that truly your truth? It hissed, closing the distance like a predator savoring the final moments of a hunt. What is your greatest fear, Claire? Losing her, or discovering she was never worth saving? Time slowed as Claire's breath quickened. Those words clawed at her sanity. This isn't real. She stammered, grasping for the remnants of her light. Sweat dripped from her brow, mingling with the filth of the ground beneath her. It felt like pooling darkness, slick and wrong. You wield such power, yet you're so fragile. If only you knew how fragile your sister is. The figure lunged at her, shadows leaping like flames, aiming to engulf her whole. Do it, Claire. Drown in your own despair. You'll be free. A wave of fury surged within her. I want to let you take her. I'll find her. With a fierce shout, she thrust her hands forward again, the flame of her light flaring, pushing back against the onslaught. But the shadows snickered. There was a palpable satisfaction in their writhing. The weight of doubt pressed down like a leaden anchor. You think you can resist forever? The darkness feeds on your guilt, your pain. What will happen when you run out of light? The ground trembled again, causing Claire to lose her balance. She stumbled, barely regaining her footing as darkness threatened to swallow her up. Frantic, she scanned her surroundings, searching for a way out. Every second you waste is another second I consume, the figure taunted, sly and hungry. Do you feel it? The life force slipping away? Your light grows dimmer. No. Claire cried, her voice trembling now with a mix of fear and anger. With renewed desperation, she pressed on, her heart pounding like a war drum as the shadows lashed out once more. Just then, a glimmer caught her eye, a flicker of movement amidst the chaos. A shadowy figure emerged from the depths, smaller, more delicate. Claire squinted through the darkness, dread gnawing at her insides. Lucy? But the figure was too distorted, a grotesque mimicry that echoed her sister's features without life, without soul. Can you save me, Claire? The figure echoed, its voice twisted into something painful. Claire's breath caught in her throat, terror gripping her heart. The warmth in her palms flickered precariously, caught between the allure of darkness and the spark of hope. Could this really be Lucy? Or just another cruel trick of the shadows? Make your choice, the figure taunted, its laughter erupting into grotesque echoes. Save her or discover what true darkness is. With the shadows closing in, Claire faced the choice of her life, the abyss before her ready to swallow her whole once again. Would she sacrifice herself for the flickering chance to save her sister or plunge deeper into despair? Claire. The taunting voice echoed, merging with whispers that seeped into her mind. What was the truth, really? Could she cling to love long enough to save them both? As the darkness snarled in rage, looming ever closer, Claire steeled herself for the next battle. Her light may flicker, but there had to be a way out. A way to confront this horror and save her sister. Would courage be enough, or would she succumb as the shadows prepared for a feast? Her heart hammered as sweat dripped down her back. The distorted figure, twisted and wrong, hovered in the shadows like a living nightmare. Claire could barely breathe, its voice gnawing at her sanity. Can you save me, Claire? The question echoed in her ears like an unholy refrain. Each time it pierced the veil of darkness, she felt part of her spirit fraying, unraveling in the face of despair. No, this was a trick. She knew that. But knowing didn't lessen the impact of the illusions. There, in the storm of shadows, was a glimpse of Lucy, the real Lucy, inspiring both rage and venomous hope in her. Stop it. Claire screamed, her voice raw with emotion. You're not Lucy. You're nothing but a shadow. A vile imitation. She took a tentative step forward, drawing her flickering warmth into a brighter spark, forcing it against the dark. Upon her declaration, the figure recoiled, its sickly grin faltering. The shimmering light pushed back the shadows, if only for a moment, revealing twisted visions of lost memories, Lucy laughing with her, vibrant in the summer sun, the last day they were whole. The darkness writhed, furious at her defiance. Do you think memories can save her? The figure hissed, its laughter a cacophony of despair. The past can't protect your sister now. It won't save you from what I've made of her. Enough. Claire snapped, determination surging through her veins like fire. Righteous fury ignited within her, casting shadows back. She refused to relinquish Lucy to this darkness. I'll fight for us both. But the laughter grew, a swirling vortex of cold around her. Fight? When you can't even face the truth? It loomed closer, the darkness coiling like a serpent. Lucy is mine now. You're the one who never cared enough to save her. Claire's heart plummeted, memories flashing before her, moments she could have intervened, times she hesitated. Guilt squeezed around her throat as the shadows thickened, suffocating and thick like smoke. No, not true. It's not my fault. Whose fault, then? It mocked. The blame lies heavy on your shoulders. She screams for you, Claire. Can you hear her? Fragile hope flickered between them, and in that moment, she felt the urge to crack. Lucy. She howled, desperation clawing at her throat as she summoned the last of her strength. I am coming for you. Suddenly, as if responding to her call, the shadows rippled. A wail pierced the chaos, unmistakably Lucy's voice, echoing through the void with an urgency that froze Claire's insides. Help me. In that split second, darkness erupted, breaking like glass around her. Bright light exploded from her hands, illuminating the space with a blinding clarity. The shadows recoiled, shrieking like banshees, revealing glimpses of a charred landscape where memories lay buried. Claire froze as she glimpsed the remnants of her past interwoven with darkness-shattered funhouse mirrors reflecting her worst fears. She blinked, wrestling with the painful specters of loss and regret manifesting in grotesque forms. Yet, amid the madness, the figure cackled, becoming the very embodiment of her fears. Do you really think you can save her? Or will the darkness consume you first? Gathering her resolve, Claire thrust her hands forward once more, determined to pierce through the fear. I will not fail her. Not again. But doubt laced through her heart like venom, leaving her feeling heavy and leaden. Would her light be enough? Panic threatened to overtake her clarity. In that moment of tension, she noticed a flicker, a distant light far behind the struggles, growing stronger. Could Lucy be fighting too? An ember of hope ignited, daring her to believe in their connection. With renewed vigor, she shouted into the dark, I refuse to give up. The light pulsed around her, a vibrant shield against the consuming shadows. The figure sneered, its form twisting and contorting in anger. Then face the truth of your cowardice. Witness how deep your sister's darkness runs. Claire took a breath, bracing for the unveiling of her own fears, ready to confront the sinister puppeteer of her nightmares. Would facing the grotesque truths be the key to finding Lucy? Or would the darkness finally claim her? The shadows surged, ready to unleash their final torment, as Claire readied herself for what lay beyond. What awaited her when the truth emerged from the depths of fear? The air crackled, charged with a tension that surged like a live wire. Claire squared her shoulders, preparing for the darkness to lash out. What she felt inside was a mix of terror and a gut-wrenching determination. The figure, the embodiment of her worst nightmares, twisted before her, contorting itself like a malevolent serpent. Face it, it snarled, venom draping its words. Look into the truth of where your sister lies, cradled in despair. You're too weak to save her. With that, the shadows shifted, and Claire felt herself being pulled. She resisted, summoning the warmth pulsing in her hands, the flicker of light that had pushed the darkness back before. But the shadows grew thicker, clawing at her sanity, mocking her resolve. Images began to swirl around her, each one sharper and more haunting than the last. Lucy's smile transformed, twisted into a terrified scream. Flashes of moments from their childhood played like a haunting reel, each filled with bright laughter now tainted by a dark edge. You left me. They cried in unison, echoing, mixing with the figure's malevolence. You didn't care enough. Claire's heart thudded painfully in her chest. No. She shouted, but the words fell flat against the overwhelming tide of anguish. It felt like betrayal writ into her soul, each image a needle pricking, each sound a dagger. "Can you see it now?" The figure whispered, its voice sinking deep into the marrow of her bones. "Every time you chose to turn away, I claimed a piece of her, and now, she's mine." A cold chill crept up her spine. Under the weight of those memories, the flickering light began to dim, shrinking under the oppressive force of darkness. The shadows pressed in closer, suffocating her resolve with an intangible dread. "Imagine a world without the burden of your failures," it cooed, sliding closer. "Imagine Lucy, not as your sister, but as the final victor of your cowardice." Claire's heart raced. This was the moment she either plunged deeper into despair or fought her way back. "You're wrong," she yelled, her voice echoing against the walls of black. "I can't let you win. I will reach her, no matter what." She thrust her hands forward, remembering the love that bounded them, the laughter they shared. In that moment of clarity, a swirling burst of warmth erupted from within her, spreading like wildfire. This felt different, more potent. It pushed against the shadows, forming a dome of glossy light around her, a protective shield. The figure screeched, the cacophony smashing against the brightness, momentarily stunned. The shadows began to pull away, retreating from the radiance. Claire moved forward, eyes locked onto the heart of the darkness where she sensed Lucy's spirit lingering. Then she saw it, a flicker, a glow behind the black, a desperate cry mingling with her own resolve. Claire's voice trembled, unmistakable and filled with both fear and love. "Help me. Don't leave me." That flicker ignited a fire deep in Claire's belly, powerful enough to cut through the cold. "I'm coming, Lucy. Hold on." With every ounce of strength, she forced the light to expand, pushing through the contours of the darkness, illuminating the path toward her sister. "What are you doing?" The figure screamed, its form writhing in panic. "You'll never find her. The darkness is too strong. It lives inside you." But Claire didn't waver. She charged through the thick shadows, fueled by Lucy's calling. Each small victory pushed her deeper into the abyss, towards the light. The further she went, the more obstructed the path became, a tangled web of memory and sorrow striking at the depths of her despair. But she was close. She could feel it. Suddenly, the shadows lashed out, wrapping around her wrists, dragging her backward into the void. Claire fought against the pull, feeling the essence of their connection strengthening, a tether pulling her toward the last shreds of her beloved sister. Would she be able to break free in time to save Lucy? Or would she be consumed by the darkness trying to claim her? As the shadows tightened around her, Claire screamed, "I will not let you have her." The electric tension crackled, fueling a pulse of blinding light. But then, chilling silence enveloped her like a shroud. Claire's breath caught what awaited her in the heart of darkness. Would the truth they wove together unite them or separate them forever? Claire's heart raced as shadows surged around her, thick and relentless, like waves crashing against the rocks. She could still hear Lucy's voice, echoing through the murky darkness, calling for her. "Help me." Her resolve ignited in response, rising from deep within, a fire stoked by love and desperation. "I'm coming," Claire shouted, pushing against the suffocating grip of despair. She fought through the oppressive shadows, straining to focus on the gentle shimmer of hope she envisioned her sister's face, filled with trust. "Lucy!" She yelled again, her voice reverberating in the stillness, and just as swiftly, Lucy's laughter rang through the void, muffled yet real. The flicker of connection pushed Claire forward, battling the creeping darkness that threatened to ensnare her. Suddenly, the figure manifested before her again, sinister and twisting, its smile sharp and predatory. "You really think you can save her? All this time, she's been part of the darkness that threatens your very existence," it taunted, words slithering through the air like a foul odor. "No. I want to let you twist my heart," Claire retorted through gritted teeth, each word like a dagger cutting through the gloom. She summoned her light again. It burst forth like a sunbeam, illuminating the cavern of shadows that confined her. Love only weakens you. The figure shrieked, but Claire couldn't hear it over the pulsing rhythm of her heart. The warmth radiated from her hands, infusing every corner of her being with courage. You don't know what love is. It's what binds Lucy to me. With each resolute step, the shadows recoiled, hanging back like frightened children. Claire pushed through the darkness, determination blazing in her eyes. The flickering light grew brighter, sparkling in the black. Help me. Please. Lucy's voice echoed once more, this time closer. Claire's desperation fed her resolve. I'm here, Lucy. Just as she reached the essence of her sister, the shadows advanced again, tightening their grip no matter how fierce her light blazed. The figure returned, claws at the ready, rage filling its voice. You think you can just waltz in and rescue her? She belongs to the darkness now. Claire's stomach twisted tight, but she had no time for fear. Lucy. Listen to my voice. You are more than this darkness. You are my sister. And as she spoke, the faint flicker of light she carried in her hands began to pulse with newfound energy. The suffocating shadows quivered, sharing a silent retreat. I'll fight for you. Claire shouted, shaking off the bonds of shadow. She opened her palms wide, releasing an explosion of warm light that swept through the chaos, wrapping around Lucy's flickering essence. In that brilliance, Claire saw Lucy's form coalesce, a small, trembling figure, pale against the dark, eyes wide and fearful. I'm scared, Claire. No. You're brave. We can do this together. Claire exclaimed, slipping her fingers into Lucy's, feeling the warmth of hope ignite between them. You've got this. I'm not leaving you behind. A vibrating pulse radiated from their joined hands, stitching them together with threads of love and defiance. The shadows writhed violently, hissing in fury at the brilliance that threatened to engulf them. Together. Claire knew they had to synchronize their hearts, their courage, their light. Together. Lucy echoed. As their voices intertwined, waves of resistance surged, challenges melted, and the shadows screeched in disbelief. Light flared where they had joined, bathing the darkness in a powerful glow that rivaled the sun. With one final effort, Claire and Lucy pushed back against the dark. I won't let fear win. Claire cried, feeling the heat of their bonds burning away the despair that had held them captive. Neither will I. Lucy echoed, pure determination washing over her as they charged toward the heart of the darkness. It receded before them, shrieking indignantly, desperate to cling to its prey. In that triumphant moment, Claire felt like the weight of a lifetime lifted from her shoulders as the shadows began to dissolve, unraveling in light. The figure lunged, but the warmth consumed it, brighter than the pain that had shadowed Claire's heart for so long. The grotesque visage began to evaporate, whispering threats and despair, but their combined light was too strong. It pierced through the darkness, like a lighthouse cutting through fog. Then, in a final burst, the sinister figure shattered, scattering into oblivion, leaving nothing but echoes in its wake. Lucy emerged, her eyes dancing with brightness, her smile radiant and warm. Claire. You did it. With tears of relief streaming down her cheeks, Claire pulled Lucy into an embrace, holding her tight as the darkness faded completely from their world. They were free. They stood in the remnants of the chaos, surrounded by a stillness that felt foreign but welcoming. In that moment, they made a silent pact: no more shadows would come between them. They were light and hope unified, ready to face what lay ahead. We'll rebuild, Claire whispered into nothingness, feeling the weight of uncertainty still lingering but resolutely higher than the fears that had once threatened to consume them. Yes, Lucy agreed, sniffling. We'll do it together. And as they turned toward the open door, stepping back into the light of a new day, Claire smiled, knowing she had confronted the darkness and emerged victorious, holding her sister safe within her heart. They would find joy again together. Now it's your turn to act. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories that will leave you breathless. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm that helps us grow. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about this incredible conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of courage and hope. Let us spread the light.